It's PG-13. Then you came in the chat. We got JSK and Bree, she's my babe. And there's that one guy that's named Matt. Then Karma, my boo, yeah, she's pretty cool too. Squish and Rakish don't know how to rate. Then Astro comes in, yeah, she's my modern friend. Then Anita with her damn band-aids. 'Cause I got friends in Twitch Creative where we're all weird and it's sometimes debative, but it's okay. You make me this way. Well, we streaming music and in there as well. All the trolls in IRL can go to hell, 'cause I got friends in Twitch Creative. Now let's clear this up. My friends stream there and stuff, and man, I've streamed there before. But back to my friend Slago might walk in while he streams with Poop next door. We got Kiri and Doc, man, he sure can beatbox. And my fresh ass can sure play the drums. But hide all your stuff, 'cause he can sure get rough and break all your things on the floor. 'Cause I got friends in Twitch Creative where we're all weird and sometimes debative, but it's okay. You make me this way. Well, we streaming music and in there as well. All the trolls in IRL can go to hell, 'cause I got friends at Twitch Creative. There's so many more you need to explore. Man, some will touch your soul. We got Megan Eagleson, yeah, she's kinda my friend, and sometimes I call her cornhole. We got RGS, yeah, her real name is Steph. She is really cool. We got Chase and Sierra, Bayesian Matt, I'm aware of, Richie and some chicken too. 'Cause I got friends in Twitch Creative. We're all weird. It could be debated, but it's okay. You make me this way. Well, we're streaming music and there as well. All the cross and IRL can go to hell, 'cause I got friends in Twitch Creative. Okay, one more, 'cause there's more, I'm sure. Like them two guys on the couch. Then the Pope owns you, yeah, she'll yell it's true. Then the Faithless will make it a gift. Then there's Dan and Rio and Ben. Those are some pretty cool dudes. And Jingle can shred and Sam can sing you to bed, while Raquel and Megan sing blues. Then there's Christy Cates and Jenny, they're great. Oh, there's so many more. Just ask AJ Weiss and Gummy and Pre-Flight and Chippy, I've asked them before. And then there's Trevor, who is quite clever while singing them Disney tunes. He'll play Let It Go, and honey, you'll never know that Anna was really a dude. 'Cause I got friends in Twitch Creative where we're all weird and sometimes debated, but it's okay. You make me this way. Well, we streaming music and in there as well. All the trolls in IRL can go to hell, 'cause I got friends in Twitch Creative.
Hello and welcome to another episode 11 of the Music Community Podcast. I'm your co-host, Doc Bizzle. Here with me today are Dan Drumstone and Random Girl Singing. Hey, guys, how you doing?
Hey.
Hello.
And we have
Long
special...
time no see.
Yeah, I know. It has. Feels like it's been forever because we skipped a week being gone at the retreat. But today we are really excited to have with us a good friend of mine, a wonderful music streamer, PintSizedFun. Would you guys welcome PintSizedFun? Woo!
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
That's where the crowd goes wild for you, Pint. You don't get to hear them, but... So we're really glad to have Pint here. She is a guitar player, singer. She also does a little bit of gaming on Twitch for fun, and she's part of one of the co-founders of the Nakama community, actually, that I've been a part of over the last several months. So I'm personally very excited to be able to have you on the podcast today and just get to know you a little bit better and let everybody hear a little more about who you are and what you do. So, and Pint has a visitor with her.
Yeah.
Have my niece. Sorry.
A little baby.
baby.
So Pint, tell us, how in the world did you discover Twitch? What made you want to stream on Twitch?
Well, my husband actually was watching people play video games on Twitch, and we started watching this guy named Mr. Moon, and I just thought he was hilarious. And he's like, "You should stream. You have like an awesome personality. I think you'd be like really good at it." And I was like, maybe. And so he's like, no, you should do it. So we got all the stuff to do it, and started playing video games. And then one night I got the courage. My husband tried to push me to do a music stream, and it's history from there.
Nice. How long ago was that? When did you start the gaming stuff?
I started gaming, I think, at the end of February or beginning of March, somewhere around there. And then I started doing music around April.
Had you already seen other music streamers, or at the time where you just kind of like, oh, you did? Who did you watch?
I used to watch you. And I would watch Megan Eagleson, and then they had Rocket Sings, but he does art now. And then who else was there? Obviously, I ran into like Chase and Sierra and
Doug Bizzle.
Yeah, Doug Bizzle. Well, Doug, you actually started around the same time that I did. I did run into you. Yes, I did. And so,
what was that first stream like?
Scary, horrible.
Oh.
Music-wise, though, the first music stream.
Yeah, same.
Did you have a lot of viewers find you right away when you when you're doing your music?
Yeah, I think for my first music stream, I had about maybe 20 or 30 people come in, because I think I started in IRL. For some reason, because it was my first and I was nervous, so I thought I'd be talking a lot. So, I had about 30 people come in there. But then it went down after that. Once I started streaming in music, I had about like 10 maybe starting out.
How long have you, or I should say this, what was your first instrument that like you kind of picked up?
The first instrument that I played was in middle school. This was the drums.
Yeah, I didn't know that. What?
Yeah. And then my dad got me into the guitar.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When did you start performing?
Actually, I started performing when I was like 14. I would go do these it was like karaoke contests at the flea market.
Yeah.
And then the karaoke guy actually that was there got me into going to like bars and just like singing a couple of songs, so my parents would have to sign like the waiver and stuff and start doing that. And then I had bands come and ask me to start singing with them, so that's how that started.
That's so cool.
Now, you've really got a country voice. I feel like your voice is very country. What has influenced you? What are your musical influences, and what keeps you passionate about learning new music and working on your voice?
Well, obviously, being from the South a lot, naturally I like country. And when I'm around a lot of people, obviously my voice comes out. You saw that at the retreat. I was just like, "Hi guys, how you doing?" And it's really contagious, by the way. And I started listening to like a lot of Carrie Underwood and Miranda Lambert, and I was really, I was like, they're like powerhouse country singers, and they just really inspired me to, do that kind of stuff, because there wasn't a lot of people out there. Like they had Gretchen Wilson and all that kind of stuff, and I felt like they were like on that level. They're some of my favorite singers. So,
Gotcha.
So you've been a legit like gigging musician for a long time before you did music on Twitch. I know there are some that have played a lot before broadcasting, and then for some folks, I think even Stephanie, if I'm right, Twitch was sort of your first kind of, other than singing in choirs and stuff, but to like really kind of perform your own show and your own material. Twitch was sort of the first place that you started doing that. What was it like for you, Pint? Like, the differences between live show and Twitch, like describe that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are the highs and lows of the differences there for you?
Really, the difference is like you're not in front of an audience, so you don't know how they're reacting to you instead of like until you like read chat. So being in front of a live audience, you have like a natural, you could see them reacting like in real time. The Twitch thing, it kind of makes me feel like more comfortable in a way, because I'm not actually in front of people, and I'm very I get very nervous when I'm in front of people. So Twitch, like, it makes it like so much better to just be myself and be goofy and not have people, making stink faces at me if they don't like it.
Well, and it's nice to not have that distraction. Like recently, just last week, you co-organized this music retreat, and it was a lot of musicians. Yeah, thank you for all of your work. Thank you, Doc. And we'll talk about that more later. But one of the things that I noticed about it was, there are so many reactions in front of a live setting. And it personally made me want to sing less, because I couldn't help but subconsciously compare, people went wild when he sang this or she sang this, or,
Right.
I was too distracted by all that, I feel like, to really enjoy my music the way I would in front of my audience, my community on my channel, with the silence of my room and without that distraction.
Yeah. I never thought of that. But yeah, I could totally see that.
I love just like being there.
Yeah, it was definitely intimidating. It can be an intimidating feeling, especially when the room is not just full of people having a beer and some peanuts, but it's full of other musicians and singers. Some, like you said, stuff that just went before you, or they're coming up after you. And I'm with you on that. I completely felt that.
See, from my perspective, though, all of you guys are just amazing. Like, I've said it on stream since I've been back, but just the amount of talent that was in that room. For me, I was like, everybody that came up and would do a collaboration, it was like, yes. Like, it was, for me, from my perspective, everyone is just on this plane that very few people are on, in my opinion, talent-wise, and the amount of improvisation that was going on.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like, just quick harmonizing and just, people would duck out for 5 minutes, say, hey, let's work on this song. Okay, cool. Figure it out, come back and go play it in front of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Like that, like just that quick, just the talent. To me, all of you guys are just, you're way up here. No one can see my hand, but it's very high.
Thanks, Dan.
You're way up
But
there
I get
too,
it though.
Dan.
I get it though. From I get to hide behind a bunch of stuff as a drummer, but when you're up there, I get that. That totally makes sense.
I mean, it was a real challenge as far as versatility as a musician and being a jam setting. And sometimes in that setting, the lines are a little blurred and the audience might not completely understand, like, hey, this is the first time that we've ever even sang together, let alone even tried this song. And some people are just pulling you up, on stage and saying, hey, come sing this with me. And you just have to make it up as you go along. And then, not to mention, Doc had done a lot to make sure that this retreat got a lot of exposure because it was for charity. We ended up being on the front page of Twitch, so we had thousands of people there.
Yeah.
That's
Front
very
page multiple
intimidating.
multiple times. Yeah. Bringing up the different musicians that kept coming up, Jingle Angle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was really funny because
was
I would
awesome.
watch him. He'd come up and play. He'd go sit down and he'd get all comfortable. And then someone would be like, hey, Jingle, come back in. And he's like, okay. And he'd come back and he'd just go back and forth. But that was like, that's what I mean, that level of spontaneity and just, okay, let's just go. What key are we in? And just to make it sound like you've been playing together for a long time. It was really impressive as a whole, I thought.
Be honest, I was like trying not to fangirl over all of you guys. I was really nervous to meet y'all. Well, I mean, I've already met Doc, but I mean, like, I've seen, like, RGS, we've talked a few times. Well, Steph, we've talked a few times, like, through Discord, but I've never, like, met you in person. I'm just like, wow, she's just, like, really awesome. And I don't know what I'm going to do when I meet her. So I was just, like, trying to tone her down. Hey, Steph, what's up?
And it was funny because to me, I'm like, oh, yeah, I get to meet one of my peers who is also doing incredible things, you know?
Yeah. And we went to the grocery store together.
We did, well, that was fun.
That was
a picture
fun.
of Steph looking up at a horse or something like that.
Yeah, I have a video of Dan and Seth trying to steer a shopping cart in the parking lot.
That was dangerous.
I mean,
Clearly
it really was
photoshopped, guys. That didn't happen. We're very
try this at
mature.
home.
You know,
It was really a special experience in a lot of ways, and part of that was to be able to bond with these folks that you've already kind of bonded with or known virtually. Now you get to make music with them and become friends with them. Doc, you should totally talk to us about a little bit more about the organization that went into this, what inspired it, and how you felt that the retreat went as a whole.
Well, I mean, honestly, it started out, the idea for doing something like that started out back even before TwitchCon, when Seth and Pint and myself had sort of just, I mean, we're all friends. We all love each other, but there's, you know how you just kind of have a fast friend? It's just like somebody you kind of connect with sort of quickly. And because of our relationship, we had sort of already started building our communities. I've talked about it before. We call it the Nakama community. That's sort of a shared community of our viewers and people that all kind of connect with us three. Well, that had started growing, and our desire as us three to get together at some point was pretty strong. And so there were a handful of other streamers that I was hoping to be able to meet and spend time with like that as well. So we started off just with the idea of, let's get 8 to 10 streamers and we'll get one of these little cabins, you know, that has a nice big game room where we can set up and play music in. But after TwitchCon, it was like, holy cow, we just had 55 people in a room together at Trevor's, and it was off the chain. So why don't we try to expand it then? Instead of it just being 6 or 8 or 10 people, let's reach out, because a lot of people want to do something like this. So really, Pint and Seth and Real, there were several people that were very verbal about, I really want to make sure we do something like this. So we just kind of went to work on it. The drive behind it, the desire behind it really was, we just want to strengthen our relationships. We want to have that quality time together, be in the same room with each other, play some music, and kind of hang out. Of course,
wait till next TwitchCon.
Yeah, no kidding. Of course, what it turned into was, we ended up, instead of finding a place that could sleep 12 people, we found a place that could sleep 30 some people. And then it was like, well, we can have up to 40 in the building, so we might as well let a few other people, even that aren't sleeping there, if they want to come and hang out. So it really kind of went a lot bigger even than my initial thought was. It took a heck of a lot of work to and some of it might not have even been necessary, right? Like, you get to the end of something like that, and there may be things I was stressed over that I didn't need to stress over. But you don't know going into it. All you know going into it is, we've got 40 people showing up. All of them now, because it's been layered on the number of people that are coming. Now, everybody's expectations may even be different. This first group, it was going to be casual. The second group, it was like, hey, we can do some streaming together, and maybe we can get some front page time. At the very least, we'll stream for charity. And then we had a third layer of folks that joined us that they were coming for a convention maybe. In their mind, it was, I'm coming for a party or whatever. So with everybody's expectations being different, there was a lot of just the front end stress of, I want to make sure we have streams that are completely free so that people don't feel like it's over organized. But then we're going to have one that's super organized so that everybody can get fair shot on that one. And just tried to go into it with that. Having asked, Pint, she actually volunteered. I was like, man, it'd be great if we could do a couple of group meals. And she's like, I got breakfast,
So volunteers tribute.
Which was really good, by the way.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Of course, Stephanie, you jumped in.
Oh, no, she did the bacon.
Oh my
bacon.
gosh, the
I did the
best.
bacon. Pint did the pancakes. Put them together, you got bacon pancakes.
Yes, man.
So nothing like that has ever been done, especially in the music community. because it revolved around, like you said, Doc, so many different people, under the same roof doing multiple streams. It wasn't just like a few hour thing that we did. It was, do you know how many hours collectively
Over 20
was streamed from there?
Oh, wow.
Over 20
Just
hours.
the streams,
That's a
there was
lot.
over 20 hours of streams in 3 days.
And then
You
it
know.
was, the setup for it, soft creamy beige.
Oh, yeah.
Alan, he just he owned that. It was amazing. And the production level of it, it wasn't just like, hey, just throw up our webcam and we'll just see what happens.
That put a
There
lot
was
of thought.
It was
much.
taken to a very professional level. And for the charity, the Saving Music Live thing,
Yes.
we raised over $25,000 collectively.
That's
since December from it.
Yeah, in the past 2 months, and in this alone, and within that 20 hours, we raised more than $7,000.
Yeah,
That's
like
pretty
7,
incredible.
3, yeah.
And it wasn't just front page, once. It was multiple times. It was.
Yeah.
I think it was really cool at Twitch to kind of notice what you guys organized and what the community as a whole wanted to do together.
Yeah.
Like that and celebrate that.
And that's the
very
biggest
cool.
thing that I take away from it, and I look at it and go, a lot of people have said thank you to me, and what I would want to just turn right around and say is thank you to everybody who showed up, everybody who said, you know what, I'm going to put some money out and I'm going to set the days aside. I'm going to take off from my personal stream to go be a part of something that's bigger than just me. And and that's a lot of people to do, for artists to do that. Most artists are divas, so to have
I'm
that,
totally a diva.
Me too.
to have that many artists say, I want to go be a part of something that's bigger than me. Not only will I sacrifice my time, collectively it costs to rent the place that we got, not including anybody's airline tickets or food. Okay. Just to get the place that we got was like $7,000. So collectively, everybody came together with that much money to come together. And then we raised over $7,000 for charity while we were together. It was amazing how many people jumped in, whether they came to stream, to help cook, to just hang out. People that helped, like Soft Creamy Beige, who just showed up with the audio gear and made it happen. It was unbelievable. Everybody.
You would have never guessed that there was a kitchen behind that stage. My husband could not believe it. And the viewers might not realize, but that main stage, behind that was a huge room with a kitchen, noisy microwave, people coming in and out from the balcony to get a refill on their beverage or whatever, and chattering in the background. You couldn't hear that on the stream. It was so well produced. He really did an amazing job. And I really do feel like Twitch really stepped up for the music community in featuring this. And it's not like we weren't up against some stiff competition for that weekend for front page time. We've got the Overwatch League happening. There's a lot of other stuff that Twitch could have chose to promote. But they made the statement to show up for music. And I feel like us showing up for this event made a huge statement about our community. We're here.
We're here and we don't suck.
We're not going nowhere.
That should be our motto.
Yeah.
We're here.
No,
we
like
don't
it
Which
was
music?
just
We're here and we don't suck.
the amount of talent, I just wanted to sit there and watch, it was awesome. It
Well,
was
Dan,
really
I'm
cool.
glad you got to jump in and play, because when we did the thing at Trevor's house, you were the guy at the mixer the whole night. You didn't play the drums on one song the entire time at Trevor's. So I was really glad to see you hop in there, man.
But it is nice though to just watch, because like I said, you guys are good and you're super talented. I've said this, we talked about it before we started up, but one of the things that did bother me that I heard over the weekend, and even I hear it in streams sometimes since I've started and I've watched, new streamers start up, and, people say, well, I'm not a real musician, or, I'm just doing this just because for fun. And the amount of musicianship that was just shown off this past weekend, and every time people stream, it just blows my mind, because let's take like a bigger pop star, right? They'll spend 10 weeks performing with a band in rehearsals to do 1 hour of performance, where these people that are music streamers are day in, day out performing, getting better at their craft, writing songs, just growing as a musician. And that level of commitment and artistry, I think, is amazing. It blows my mind that what people have available at a click on Twitch as far as music goes. And it was really showcased this weekend just monumentally, you know?
I totally agree. And it reminds me of something that my husband says and of something that Trevor said during the last podcast. My husband always talks about how on social media and some of these instances, you're often comparing your behind the scenes to somebody else's highlight reel. And I feel like with a musical product, that can especially be true. And Trevor was also talking about how, when we were discussing the differences between being more prepared to be a performer or just sort of showing up and jamming and not really setting an expectation there. When you don't set that expectation there, when you say, hey, I'm not a pro or whatever, then I feel like maybe people say that because it frees them up to be able to just sort of show up with their best. And, they set the bar low. And so whatever they give is enough. And I can definitely relate to that. At the same time, what is a real musician?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, people just think, well, I'm going to go in my room and sit in front of my computer and I'm going to play a song and I'm going to stream. But that room, the minute you do that, is your stage. You're playing, and, people use the word viewers. That's your audience. That's your crowd. That's your fan base, just like a band would have, or just like a pop singer. They're supporting you. If they could drive to a concert venue to see you, if you were in their town, they would come to see you. You know, it's a lot of people see it, I think, sometimes as still like a game. Streaming started with gamers, so yeah, you get that parallel. But I think what people are doing nowadays, the level of productions and just the content and the talent that is being streamed now music-wise, I mean, it's at a different level. And I just want to encourage people that are starting or that might think that, I'm just doing this, because it's fun, or I could do a couple songs. Like, you're not. You're performing. That room that you're in, or that chair, or that bed that you're doing it from, that's your stage, So it should be respected in that way, I think.
Well,
I don't know.
I wanted to jump in on it. Yeah, I wanted to jump in on it because, I totally agree. Like what Steph was saying, people will come in and saying that, I'm not a real musician and this, that, and the other. But also, people show up for you. Once people come into your channel and they see your personality and everything, even if you do mess up every now and then, or you want to do live learns and you totally screw it up, people are gonna stay and be like, oh well, that was a good try. They're there for you. They become your friends in your community, and they, they're just there to hang out and they enjoy the music. So. I don't know. That's something that's helped me, be able to keep doing this, because I know people get streamers depression and stuff like that because they see that their numbers are low, or, they're, a lot of people aren't talking in their chat. But once you get that community and that following going, it really just excites you to keep going and doing it, and you get to do what you love, and that's music for all of us. So
yeah. I was worried when I came back. I'm like, is anyone going to be there? Because I was away for,
and then everybody showed up.
Yeah. Pretty awesome. But yeah, I don't mean to say it in a bad way. I just want, people that are streaming and are putting themselves out there with their music, you are a musician, you are an artist, and no matter the talent, it takes guts and courage to do that. And I think it's very cool to see.
Yeah. And even people you look up to, I feel like they have their bad days, or they have their moments of comparison and self-doubt. I mean, I would be remiss to not mention that, even when I was in that room surrounded by massive talent, yes, I was inspired, but, I was also a little intimidated in some ways because, while we do get all these people together and it is quite amazing on Twitch, I get to sort of be a broadcaster first, and it's the RGS show, and you have your own community to bolster you in that cumulative group setting. You really you really are inspired, but you also are a little challenged to not compare yourself to other folks' progress, you know, and to remember to be the best version of you can, and remember that you have something unique to offer. You know, you might not be able to play guitar or sing just the way that somebody else can. I mean, when I hear Pint belt and do some of that like country belting running kind of stuff, like I can't do that stuff. When I see a whole room go hushed when Sierra Eagleson, you know, starts doing a really beautiful, unique take on a song, it's one of those things where it's like only they can really do those things. And we all have something like that. It's just a matter of being brave enough to show up and put your own best out there and say, I'm going to try my best, you know, and not get caught up on the things you can't do, you know, but get caught up on the things that you can do.
That's what I love about the fact that we were able to stream the collaborative effort of so many music streamers is that it allowed the music community, the viewers, the viewing music community to hear what I think the best sound they could ever hear come through a channel. And it was not any one person's song. They got to hear all of us cheer for each other and hoop and holler and clap. They got to hear it. Like it's one thing if I'm streaming and my viewers may happen to see Pint or Dan or Stephanie come in for a few minutes and say, hey, you sound great today, Doc. Like that, even just that bolsters my own community. They're just like, oh, that was awesome. Stephanie was here and, you know, complimented Doc and, you know, it was great to see her. As powerful as that is, for our communities to hear 30 or 40 people going, woo, in the background for somebody, how powerful is that? And I'll tell you how powerful it is. I haven't heard anything from the viewer community except how unbelievably epic it was for them to hear and see all of us together. It was the best thing. I heard people saying it's the best thing I've ever seen on Twitch, you know?
Wow.
And I don't think it was just the performances. I really think it had to do with them hearing and seeing us support each other that way.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that.
Best community.
Yeah.
We're here and we don't suck. I mean, there was a few amazing. I would like to. I think we should all kind of bring up a few little highlights of the retreat for us. Like for me personally, Tea Leaf 77. She was the. You know, I'd like to also point out that we had age ranges and ability and you know amounts of ability and musical experience all over the map at this thing. We had Tea Leaf 77, who is 17 years old. Her dad came with her to stay in the cabin because
But she was so awesome.
My goodness. You know, there was a moment, it was like during one of the more, I think we were just jamming. I'm not even sure if we were streaming this night or if it was a more low-key kind of stream. But she started singing and playing a really kind of chill version of a Screamo song, of a Pierce the Veil song.
Yeah.
And the room, you know, everybody had been listening to music for a while, and so there was some chattering going around here and there. All of a sudden, she just let loose. And I remember Dan saying that at Trevor's house, he had to like quickly adjust the gain down because he was loud. And I was like, well, I've never really heard that out of her.
No.
Oh my gosh. She let loose on this note. And I swear to God, the whole room just hushed and everybody just their jaws were hanging down, their eyes were bulging out of their head, we're looking at each other. And I feel like that was like a really big moment for her. And I know that this retreat was a big deal for somebody like Tea Leaf. She's never really studied music. She went from singing in her bedroom on Twitch to being in a room full of like some people who are supporting themselves entirely with music between streaming and live gigging. She's learning how to use a dynamic microphone, how to perform live in front of people, how to on the fly try to be, you know, a flexible musician and harmonize with folks. That kind of experience, you can't replicate that by just going to a college class. You know what I mean? Being a part of an organic community. And her dad even told me, he goes, she started streaming. He said he's seen her confidence go up. He said she had a little bit of social anxiety. She's
really
grown a lot since she's been streaming. So this kind of an experience, that was the highlight for me, to see a young person like Tea Leaf benefit that much. I thought it was amazing.
What about you, Pint? What's a highlight for you from the retreat?
I think a highlight for me was just like hanging out with you guys. I mean, the music was great, and I loved collaborating with everybody, but being able to hang out with like Steph and you, Doc, and Dan, and just getting to know y'all better, and Seth and his wife, and Beige and Matt. I feel like we all like really got close, and just laughing with them, and just having a good time, and being able to meet those people, and listening to their type of music and how they perform and everything was really, really interesting, and I was glad that I got to do that.
I'm going to embarrass Chippy. My favorite, or a highlight for me was, my wife jokes, I'm a people watcher. Like, we'll go out to a restaurant and, so I'll just be looking around, and she's always like, I'll be like, hey, look at that guy. Like I just like people watching. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Chippy, the whole time, if a stream was happening or music was happening, Chippy was in that room somewhere, kind of sitting up on a chair or at the table, tapping his foot, singing along every stream.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I'd look over and he'd be singing along even with the Disney songs. It was so
Trevor's
cool to
Anna.
see. 'Cause we get support from a lot of people, and Chippy's one of those people that you see in everybody's streams, and he's super supportive, but to see him in that room being excited, just having like the time of his life, to me that was a highlight. Every time I looked over and saw him, he was just smiling, singing, bobbing his head, tapping, and like you said, we streamed for like 20 hours or something.
Yeah.
Like, he was in that room every stream for the whole time. Like,
Ultimate
if he left,
super
it might have
fan.
been to go to the bathroom or something. But
Amazing.
that was really cool to me. I don't know.
That is
Like,
awesome.
that kind of response, seeing that
Yeah.
was pretty amazing.
For me, it's just seeing the multiple collaborations of Twitch musicians that have never played or sung together before. I mean, just multiple, because it wasn't just like, oh, well, during this weekend, okay, Pint and Seth and Doc are going to do something together, and that's going to be a collab that happens, and then this other collab. It was like, no. It was a complete mix match almost the entire time. Like Steph said, even at times where somebody would say, hey, come sing this with me, and so you'd get to hear two people, even if they hadn't worked it out, it was okay. You got to hear two people singing together that you've never heard sing together before or play together before. And one of the coolest ones to me, I'm not even a huge country music fan, but when Pint and Jennifer Jess and Triple G and Soft Creamy Beige got up there, it was like Little Big Town showed up.
Oh,
We
it was
actually started a band.
amazing.
It's called Big Little Town.
There you go. Pint-sized Big Town or something, right? But I was like, oh my gosh. And to hear the diversity in the dynamic range of songs, anywhere from a country infused quartet type thing with a backing band, all the way to like what you were talking about earlier, Steph. You mentioned something about Sierra, to go from the hype in the room to Sierra singing a song, and you could hear a pin drop anywhere in the mansion because there's just something about that vibe that she has. And then to turn right around and a little bit later, you got Megalenius up there singing, doing rap and stuff. It's just the dynamic
was awesome.
range that was there, down to the singer-songwriters. Steph, I loved hearing you perform from the keyboard one of your originals, and then hearing people join in with you on the O's or the oohs or whatever. You're like, everybody join in.
I tell you what, I pretty much teared up when that happened because, then you guys got louder and it sounded so good. And I remember thinking, I know this will not be captured perfectly on stream. These dynamic mics probably won't pick it up, but it meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
It sounded good in the room, like
Yeah.
with the big wooden,
The
acoustics
natural
were
sound
great.
in the room was just perfect. So,
It was
but just
beautiful.
that range for me, the highlight. It sounds like a chump move to say everything was the highlight, but the highlight was the fact that everything was so different yet so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the potential that this community has to impact folks, because, you know, I was on Depeche Moog's stream earlier today. He's going to be helping me produce my album this summer. And he was talking, he's been a producer since the 90s. He's been doing it professionally, supporting himself for quite some time. And he was talking about, you know, how the industry's changed so much, and that he really believes that things like Twitch, you know, live streaming platforms, is just going to be one more way to put that control back in the hands of the creator, to be able to find the people who are going to love them and not even need, you know, to jump through all these loopholes or feel like they need to change themselves or change their, you know, do those things that Mary Amber was talking about, where, you know, she'd bring a song to the label and they'd say, well, this is too weird. We like the music, but can you change the lyrics? You know, something like Twitch, being a content creator and being able to find your own audience like that. How empowering that you can just be exactly who you are and you don't have to fit into some sort of mold of what people have decided is going to be the best to sell stuff.
Yeah,
oh, and by the
so
way,
true.
you can still sell stuff, but you can sell it for you. You know, you can choose what you want to affiliate yourself with and represent. And that just puts even more power back in our hands. So I am just incredibly excited to see how this community bolsters itself to be the next big thing, you know?
Yeah.
That's so true. One thing, like, I would close my eyes like sometimes at the retreat, and you could just instantly imagine yourself being in an arena, you know, like, just there's so much potential for, you know, the talent here on Twitch to just it's exciting.
And Doc were talking about that the other day. We were talking about somebody's gonna get famous on Twitch, and then they're gonna have like talent scouts like just all over the music community.
Yeah.
And then we can tell them no. And then we can say, I don't need you. I mean, I feel like that in itself would be the coolest thing, to not need that. You know, I forget who brought this information to me, but there was a YouTube star who signed a record deal, and she wrote an article about it later on about how it was the worst move that she could have ever made. Yeah. You know, signing onto a label, and, you know, the way that trickled down and impacted her art and her community and her audience. And in the end, she ended up losing out big time because if she just crowdfunded.
Yeah, most bands that do get signed to a label, they spend half of their time looking how to get out of that contract, or you know, when's it going to be over?
It's like when Kelly Clarkson
how many albums? Yeah.
When American Idol, she wanted to get out of that contract so bad because she couldn't do her own material.
And Moog is right. The industry has definitely changed, and they don't know what to do either. You know, they're still trying to figure out a way to, that's the thing. They're trying to figure out a way to contain it and control it. And I think it's bigger than anyone can control right now, you know, except for the people who are making the content, which is good.
And the good news is that, you know, there was a while when people were pirating music, and, you know, it was a really big deal that CD sales were going down. The industry as a whole was declining as far as revenue. That's actually going back up thanks to streaming, like on Spotify or whatever you know, that's actually going back up, and you don't need to be on somebody else's label to get your music on an app like that or a service like that. So it's pretty inspiring for me to see artists like that, like Amanda Palmer, who was with the Dresden Dolls. She's one of Patreon's most successful content creators. Nice. And she talked about how she didn't appreciate when she was on a label that she was told she couldn't release an album in the fall because that was Nickelback season, or that she, you know, or that she had to open for a particular band that she wouldn't want to open for, or that she should lose some weight, or that they should cut out the unflattering shots. She didn't appreciate that as an artist. And the cool thing is that when you build your community organically on being authentically 100% you, you know, you don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. An artist should not have to worry about that crap.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's distracting, you know, when someone who is thinking of it from a business side, which is important, but things like appearance and, well, this time might not, you know, work for us, or we're going to hold off another 8 months on releasing your record because of this or that. Like, it's just limiting, and it's frustrating, you know, for the artist that they shouldn't have to deal with at all.
That's what I love about Twitch, though. I mean, honestly, if I could have tried to really work my butt off for it, maybe when I was in my 20s, I could have done something more as far as public, growth and stuff. Maybe, but now, I'm a fat old white dude. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I'm not saying that to be down on myself. I'm just saying I get that I'm not, the poster child of modern music for being on some record label or some music video. I get that. And I'm okay with that too. I don't feel bad about that. What I love is that with Twitch, it doesn't matter. I can just do my music. I can just do it. I can be goofy if I want. I can shave if I want. I don't have to shave. I can wear a hat. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to do my music. And the people that enjoy hanging out with me and enjoy the music are going to come and hang out with me. Not because a record label told them to or because I put a great looking headshot out there for, to attract people to my channel. It's like, look, here's what you get. I'm play some keys, sing a little soulful music, have a good time.
Let's not joke, Doc. You're pretty cute.
Well, that's sweet of you to say that. But my point is, it doesn't matter, though. It really doesn't matter. I can really just be
look
me.
at Pint. She has 3 children. I mean, did you ever think that you'd be able... Did you think you'd given up on your dreams at any point with music? Did you tuck it away?
Well, yeah, because actually, I talked to my husband about that a lot. Like, how it's, couldn't write or anything anymore because I didn't really have the time whenever my kids were super small. Now my 2 oldest are in school and I just have my youngest at home. So now I tried out one day, courageously tried out a EU friendly stream, and my daughter kept coming in and I was just like, no, stop. I was like, I don't know if you can be on stream or whatever. And everybody loved her. So now it's just a thing. And my EU morning stream is a wild Riley might pop in or something. And come sing Let It Go.
That is so cool.
So being a mom is definitely...
You can cancel that order on the cage then?
Yeah. Yes. Don't need to kennel her up or anything while I stream. It was definitely hard. It is challenging because you can only do it at certain parts of the day. That's why I mostly stream at 8:30 because my kids are all in bed. They're bathed, fed, taken care of, and now it's mommy's time to do something that she likes to do.
Yes.
And that's Steph, how do you deal with you stream in the morning early sometimes before your kids have to go? Right?
Well, I am in sort of a unique, lucky situation where my husband works from home.
Oh, okay.
And he works a very flexible job where as long as he gets his work done, he can kind of work whenever he wants to. So he and I have to manage that between each other, when is going to be best. For me, an ideal stream time is getting up at 4 a.m, having my lunch, making my coffee, and then logging on by 5 or 6 a.m. That's just how that's how I built my people. I mean, because the way I feel about it, I tried to doing what you did, but doing it later, and still sometimes I try to. But the truth of the matter is sometimes I'm just exhausted, and if I get up early, then I get my time in, and then I can enjoy the rest of the day and feel good about myself. I can still be there present as a mom. I can still have been there for my community, the ones that have been the most supportive, which for me is the EU folks. And so, it is a challenge to manage it. And sometimes I do get those anxious thoughts that maybe I'm not very good at either one because I'm spreading myself a little thin, but I keep trying.
Yeah.
I think we should support Twitch moms. It's
Twitch
hard.
moms.
Yeah,
Twitch
no,
moms.
for real.
Twitch parents.
For real.
Let's be
Yes, Twitch
inclusive
parents.
here.
There's dads out there, single dads with kids too that have to go through the
Dan's
same
dad.
thing.
Doc's a dad.
Doc's a dad. Yeah.
Oh, don't remind me.
You'll be reminded the second you get off this podcast.
Yeah.
I love being a dad. My son he was at a youth group meeting the other night and they were handing out free hats and beanies, and he got himself a beanie. And on the way to the car, he said, I finally got a beanie like yours. So I can wear it when I'm streaming. And I said, well, buddy, you could have borrowed mine. He said, no, Dad, when we're streaming together, so we can both wear our beanies. I was like, just
Doc, you make
stick
me
a fork
want to barf.
in my heart.
You're such a great dad. You make me want to like barf sometimes and like just like
Well,
you're
your
so
son
great.
just looks up to you too.
Okay, so yesterday we were talking to Seth, and he was because Seth started working at a school or something like that, and he was like, "Oh my gosh,
Substitute
these
teacher.
second graders make me want to pull my hair out and stuff like that." And I was like, "I hear you." You know, Doc's like, "I'm sorry, my kid was amazing," and I was just like, "Kudos, Doc."
Yeah, he's an only child, but still, he's my buddy. We've been very fortunate. He's a great kid. I love
my
him.
kids
Angry
liked
Bird
me.
95. If you ever see him in my channel, be
Angry
sweet,
Bird
or
95.
I will find you and I will hurt you.
See, I'm planning on like how many padlocks to put on the new studio door to keep my kids out.
Well, yours are really young though.
Yeah, but they're like, if you step outside of my house with all the windows shut and all the doors, it does sound like the Velociraptor pit from Jurassic Park. Like they're just crazy in a good way. They're boys. They're little boys. But
tell
our
me about
neighbors
it,
must be
man.
like, when are they moving?
I wish I had a boy.
We just
I had 3
Mine
girls.
snuck through. We've got a baby gate on the hallway leading up to my stream room. Mine figured out how to open the cat door in it, and they crawled through one day and just busted in the stream.
Hi, Mom.
I just felt a gust of air, and I looked back, and there they were. It was just a similar reaction to Pint. Everybody was just like, "Baby,
That's so cute.
throwing
it's
up all the
cool
emotes."
'cause, you see people like Dave Grohl or these bigger artists that bring their kids out on stage. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a parallel. People really dig that. And
I mean, that's another
the
thing
kids
that's
love
special
it. They
about
want to be
Twitch.
a part of it too.
Like,
Yeah.
Dan, you couldn't have brought your kids on in your gigs, like when you go
yeah.
play these gigs late at night. Like this is something a pretty unique. In fact, after my stream, sometimes I'll go out there and I'll be like, "Release the hounds," and I'll let them come in and they'll help me pick a raid. They really like Doc. My daughter picked Doc one day.
I'll cry.
But it's a cool thing because they get to you get to include them in your life a little bit, and it also
Yeah.
lets your community see that you're not just a person who shows up and plays some music. Like, you've got a life, and they can support you as a person, support your family. They can kind of, get a little glimpse of that. I think that's just very special and unique.
Yeah, it really is.
My oldest told me that she wants to be a Twitch streamer when she gets older, a music Twitch streamer when she gets
awesome.
older. I want to do what you do, Mommy.
That's so cool, though. That's awesome.
Well,
Did I
at first
tell
she was
you
telling me
guys-
she wanted to work at McDonald's and then Walmart because she likes going to those 2 places. I was like, well, those are good, things.
So
and
this is an
stuff.
upgrade.
Like, you might
in
like
some
the food
ways.
from McDonald's and you might like going to Walmart, but you might want to shoot higher. I don't know if what I do is much where I'm at right now, but I'm just, it melted my heart that she wanted to, be a musician too.
That's so awesome. I wanted to bring up some things. We talked about how Twitch was supportive of the weekend.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of talk about a little bit past that with how they've been showcasing people like Doc and 88. Today, what's today? The 26th of January. They're doing Raquel Lilly on their weekly spotlight. And just the front page time that they've been given musicians as a whole,
Moving on up.
yeah, the Luck, they had the Luck got a chance to be on the front page yesterday, and Raquel is going to get some front page time today. I just think the past, month or so, it's just been really cool to see that just acknowledgement and excitement from, the higher ups, I would say, at Twitch to want to showcase the talent that's on here. And
We're here and we don't suck.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you to Twitch, whoever all is involved in making those decisions. Thank you from the music community. We all see and kind of recognize that happening, and it's really cool. Even if we're not the individual ones at different times getting attention, we're all cheering for the music community and for our friends, and we appreciate it. Definitely.
Collectively, it's good for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I got to watch part of the Lux front page thing, and it's going to segue into something that hopefully, Steph, you want to talk about. But the Luck have not even been streaming a year, just about a year, but they've been working at, the duo performing thing for years. And they're releasing their album this spring, and it was really cool to see them on front page singing their songs. And to say, yeah, we got this record coming out, through Twitch, we've been able to, afford it and get it out there. And we got this audience behind us and this backing. And it was really cool to see how they kind of, use Twitch, the platform of Twitch, to, show the world what they got. And they nailed it. And it was really cool. And this summer, Steph, you're starting your adventure, and that's going to be awesome.
I am. I mean, I've been writing for quite some time, but I've never actually gotten in a studio and made a real album. I'm planning to do an EP. We're going to be recording it at Dan's house. This Dan right here.
Yeah. Dan the man.
And we're going to be bringing Depeche Moog, the producer I mentioned earlier. We're going to be bringing him out from Ireland.
He's coming to the U.S.?
Yes, he is. And then after we do a week of recording, he's going to take everything back to his home studio and work on the track some more. We're also going to be bringing Vargan out, who's a very talented cellist. We interviewed him in an earlier episode. And it's just going to be a really great opportunity. The songs I'm going to be recording are going to be songs that I've written since I started streaming. So it's newer stuff. And because all of my growth as a musician after taking a really long break has occurred on Twitch, and because all the writing and the tweaking of the songs and the getting better at them happened right in front of my audience. I've told you guys I don't really practice off stream. Yeah. So everybody's had a bird's eye view to that improvement and growth over the past couple of years. My 2-year streaming anniversary is February 5th. So I'm coming up on 2 years.
That's awesome.
Because they've all seen that and supported it, I felt like what better way to do it than to stream it. I want to stream the album. I've already shown people, I feel like, that you can improve and you can do things with a few hours here or there, per week. Now I want to show them the behind the scenes, the nitty gritty to what goes into making a finished product. I want to show them what it's like to have to lay down these tracks. It's all going to be new to me, so it's going to be new to them too. And I feel like as a community, we can all benefit. I can show them how it happens, and people who are trying to do similar projects themselves can get some ideas for how to get those projects started as well. I also started a Patreon in conjunction with this, and I'm using that Patreon to do a couple things. The first thing is to post some demos and recordings for folks to listen to and to give feedback to. And that sort of is documenting my process in pre-production. Then I'm also blogging about it on Patreon. All the updates I'm putting there for my patrons on Patreon. And this extra funding is helping to fund the album as well. I also chose to not go through a site like Kickstarter or Indiegogo or something like that. I'm raising it all through Twitch, doing it all direct contributions from my viewers, because Twitch has been the cornerstone of my music right now, the cornerstone of my support. And that's where all the demand for my music has come from. So I felt like, maybe there's certain benefits to going elsewhere, like reaching other people or whatever, but I really didn't want to do that. I didn't want to complicate things with merchandise. Yeah. Also using those other platforms, people can't donate through PayPal. And that's where the majority of my support comes from. So I set up a goal for the remainder. I've been piecemealing the donation goals for this so far. And I set up a goal. And in my first stream, I've already reached like 15% of that goal.
That's great.
Let's go.
Yeah, I have till August to do it. So it is really exciting. And it's been really amazing for me to get this kind of support. And it's even more amazing for me to have a team of people who know and care about me and have seen me grow over the past couple of years that are going to be in my corner. I couldn't get a hold of any studios locally. Originally, I was going to try to do it local. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. And then here comes all these folks, even Doc, Dan, Doc, Vargan, Moog, everybody. They're just, hey, let me know what I can do. Let me help you. Let me step up and be part of your team. And that has been pretty amazing. So it's really coming together the way that it's supposed to, and it just really feels good.
That's
exciting.
exciting.
Really coming to crash your recording sets just to meet everybody.
I was going to say, can me and Pint maybe make a road trip and come have dinner
I'll
with
sit
you
in
and
the corner.
Moog?
I'll be real quiet.
Yes. I mean, it's Dan's house, so you got to ask him.
I'm not asking you, Dan. I'm just showing up.
It's okay. From like just the scope of this project. Like Steph, you said 2 years you've been on Twitch. And think about that first time that you debuted a song like Lightning or something, you know, and how has that song evolved since you first sang it? And even these demo
so much,
things,
yeah.
you know,
just
imagine
a lot, yeah.
when you get in a room with Moog, you know, and you start layering different guitar stuff or harmonies, the finished product could, you know, I'm not saying it could be different in a way that is bad, but you in that environment, you could just, you know, for people to be able to see how stuff can evolve in a studio and change is going to be really special, especially for the people that have seen it from the beginning and, you know, have heard it throughout the years. And that's really cool to say, throughout the years.
No, yeah, it is pretty amazing, because you take somebody with that talent like Moog who says, I'm going to produce it. Now, there is a lot that goes into just handing that over to somebody.
Yeah.
You've really got to be able to trust that they are going to know how to take, you know, you've got sort of an idea in your head about what you'd like it to sound like, but it doesn't exist yet.
Yep.
And you can't micromanage the process. You really have to trust that person. You really have to trust that they're going to pull the best out of you, that they're going to make that a reality. And it might, like you say, evolve into something that you don't expect. It's becomes its own thing right there. And that's art. You know, this is going to be an event making this. This is going to be art. I'm incredibly thrilled about that. And for my viewers to get to see that process and how to reinterpret a song, you know, very different from just, you know, when you're singing and playing guitar, you have to fill in certain things or do certain vocal things so that it's not boring or whatever. But when we're laying all these separate tracks, who knows what it's going to be?
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Plus, to have someone like Moog that cares, you know, at that level of, you know, to be a producer, you have to be talented, and he's definitely talented, but to have a producer that cares about the artist and isn't just doing it to just check off another artist that they've worked with, or just, to, you know, he's excited about it. It's going to be very fun to watch, and I'm excited to hear what the finished thing's going to be.
Oh, me too. I mean, and he says that this is one of those projects where, you know, sometimes producers get the opportunity to actually do something that they really want to do, you know, not that he doesn't want to do the other stuff he does, but he is excited about this. And that means a lot to me to have him in my corner. If you've never seen him, I hope you guys check him out, because he just has this very special way of pulling the best out of people and kind of coaching them, you know, coaching the best out of them. I'll see him kind of drill in a guitarist or somebody, you know, and until they get just that right thing. You don't even know what he's listening for, but he knows. Yeah. So I'm excited to see him pull the best out of my voice, you know, and be able to give me some techniques to make that translate well in a recorded setting, you know. So that's going to be pretty neat. Hopefully it helps other folks as well.
Go to Moog's channel for the accent, stay for the music.
We should shout him out. Depeche Moog. It's spelled DEPECHEMOOG. Go ahead and go follow him, guys. Get to know him before he's working on this project with Stephanie, and that way you'll just already know what you're looking for. You'll know what to expect. He's a great guy.
He's awesome.
Pint, what like, since you've started streaming and you've gotten used to it, like, what would you like to do this coming year with streaming? Like,
I definitely want to get back into writing music and doing like my own stuff, just kind of like stuff that she kind of, you know, kicked me in the butt while I was at the retreat.
Nice.
We were outside talking by the fire, and she was like, why don't you like write your own stuff? And, you know, I told her why, and, you know, I've had some you know, past things of my music getting stolen and stuff, and it kind of just discouraged me from writing. And then obviously becoming a mom and making excuses of finding time to do it and stuff. Obviously you do it. So that's not, I can't use that as an excuse anymore. So I just like kind of talked to Steph a little bit about, you know, what do I do? Like, you know, I used to write all the time. I used to have tons and tons of originals, and I don't even have those anymore. I threw them out. And, she's like, you know, just start out by doing like parody stuff, like parody songs and stuff. And lo and behold, this is my channel actually kind of brought it up one day this week, and I ended up writing a parody song to Friends in Low Places. So thanks, Steph, for the little nudge and kick.
You'll have to
Can you
do
give
a
us a
quick
preview?
recording of that pint and
Oh,
send it
goodness.
to Dan so we can put
Yeah.
it at the beginning or
Yeah.
end
It's so
of this
long.
podcast.
It's
It's
so
okay. It's okay.
You can
Have
split
a
it in
bad
two. It'd
word.
be part A, part B.
It has a bad word.
It has a bad word.
It's okay.
Just one though.
All good. That's awesome, though. Like that's what I think is really cool about Twitch is, it's a very cool way to get yourself out there and
And I'm
do your
so
thing.
grateful to have met so many people on Twitch because Doc was one of my first like true friends on Twitch. Like, and he's helped me out through so much, and even personal and Twitch related, and obviously I'm a derp when it comes to like technology, and so Steph's helped me out in that department also.
Well, you guys streamed together. I don't know when it was. It was over the summer.
July. I think. Yeah, it was.
And
in
I
July.
remember you were there, and I remember you were like, I really like that reverb sound. How do you get that? And you were like looking, and it's fun to
Steph.
see your channel has grown,
Yeah.
musically and technically too. Like the quality of everything has gotten a lot better.
Sorry, I'm opening Cheetos. All right, go ahead.
Twitch mom.
It has. You
Yeah.
have been able to upgrade your gear a lot, and I mean, you've also taken part in a lot of charity events too, and your community
Yeah, I did the
raised
Q-
a lot of money.
Yeah, I did the Q4TC. Obviously, that's why my hair is short now. Steph was like, "No."
I know. I followed your segment. I said, "What am I supposed to do now?" The woman just cut off all her hair.
After you just helped me like for a few days, well, actually, it was like a week's time, dyeing it purple, and then I go
Yeah.
and chop it off. Go Pat!
But it's been an incredible growth to watch.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what you do this year. Because it is fun to see streamers start in the beginning.
Yeah.
And just to watch them grow and get better at it.
Actually, the retreat has like Doc. I have to give you like so much props for this because the retreat actually got me. I think I didn't even stream from my channel. I got like 50 followers just from performing a few times like during the
Nice.
retreat and
That's
like having
fantastic.
like I mean. I was blown away just by the response, and then just coming back. I've had a lot more people coming to my channel, and people just being
Nice.
excited about music on Twitch and finding out about it. I didn't even know Twitch had music. So
Yeah.
That's been the coolest aftermath thing to see.
yeah,
Really, from the retreat was the number of people that are like, man, I just discovered, and I saw people even on the Saving Music live channel when we were on front page saying the same thing while we were live. They were saying, I didn't even know Twitch, had music on it. This is unbelievable. This is incredible. And then started following everybody that was performing. So that's so cool to me to come home and have people showing up and saying, man, I just discovered music the other night, and so I'm glad. I'm happy
and
for everybody.
huge shout out to the supporters, like the moderators.
Oh, yeah.
No
We had
kidding.
moderators, manning that front page segment left and right, shouting everybody out, making sure everybody knew who everybody was. Just incredible. We even had a moderator fly out from Germany to be present at the retreat with us, Gumby.
Yes.
He came from Germany just to spend time
I
with
love
us.
Gumby.
Yeah, he's just such a great person. He's been a huge supporter of the community. You have him on your wall. Aww. Yeah, I see him. It's just awesome because and not to mention the spouses and families that were able to support us so we could go
yes.
to that. My
Yeah.
husband took some time off so that I could go out there. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. That's true. And one last shout out is to Richie for like the whole
Yes.
thing. And
Yeah.
I'll embarrass Ryan too. When that 25,000, when we hit that, I was kind of standing by Ryan and, just to see you could tell, it's not just, they're not just doing it to do it. It really means something to them and they put a lot of work into it. And to see the reactions like that, it's pretty special. Yeah. It meant a lot to the people, that were working behind the scenes. So thank you to everybody that supported or streamed in December, that took the time to do that. It meant a lot, overall, I think.
It'll be neat to see for Mr. Holland's Opus the impact that
Yeah.
I
these
even
funds
saw
have
Mr.
on them.
Holland's Opus. They tweeted out about the Saving Music Live thing, about how much they raised that the weekend of the retreat. I thought that was really cool that they like personally like sent out like a tweet to.
I'm calling it now. In 10 years, there's going to be like a Twitch saxophonist that's going to come on and be like, I've been playing saxophone since because of Saving Music Live. Hopefully.
Dude, that's an amazing vision. I mean, Dan,
Yes.
honestly, I would love to see some kid who's in a public school right now who gets a grant from Saving Music Live, from Mr. Holland's Opus because of Saving Music Live. And I think, I could be wrong, and I don't want to overspeak, but I think I've heard that Mr. Holland's Opus is considering actually taking all the stuff that has come from Saving Music Live and going into one school and being like, this came from this, this
That'd be
effort,
awesome.
which would have a huge impact. Well, that's part of what I was talking with Allie about. Like, look, that's PR gold. That's the kind of stuff that we get in touch with local, whatever the school's going to be. We get in touch with local media, make sure they know this thing is happening, because that's a feel good story that news will pick up on, and that's the kind of feel good story that in syndication can get picked up by all the way up the line by like the Today Show or Good Morning America or whatever.
Yeah.
So
And then people know that there's this bizarre place that you
Exactly.
can just show up and play music.
Exactly.
And then also
It
all the
would
people
be-
that donated and stuff will be like, oh, that's where my money went.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
It's good for the donators. It's good for Mr. Holland's Opus, for their exposure. It's good for that school. It's good for Saving Music Live. It's good for Twitch. All the way around, that kind of thing. It could just... It could skyrocket literally, and it could do it overnight if we can work that out correctly. But but man, I'm telling you, that is such an awesome vision though, Dan, to think that a kid who's at whatever school may receive these funds and be able to play saxophone or play some instrument.
Yeah.
Even 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now could be out touring or doing something like that and be like, yeah, I got my start because of that thing. And then them show up on Twitch. That'd be amazing.
Well, because I've been teaching now for 14 years, and I've had some students go on to do some amazing things that are touring now or have become music teachers or, are doing it professionally. And the first time that happened, when I went to a concert, at a huge venue here in Los Angeles, and there's the kid that I started teaching when he was like 12, and he's playing in front of 10,000 people. And I'm like, that's my boy. So the impact that streamers have, on, it doesn't even have to be kids. It could be, you could impact someone who doesn't think they have a shot at it. And who knows? 10 years where everybody's going to be, or based off of one stream that they logged in and someone said something, like, yeah, go pick up your guitar, go play, go write a song.
Yeah.
And then you'll be playing drums for the Backstreet Boys one day.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very soon.
I want tickets.
So
No.
it's like I don't know. It's magical. There's really cool stuff happening. I think it's exciting.
It is
Oh, yeah.
exciting.
Could you imagine if like Saving Music Live did get like media attention, like LT Chicken on Ellen or something?
Oh, he'd be awesome on Ellen.
God,
She
him
would
and
love
Ellen would
him.
just be BFFs.
Yeah. Well, Pint, where can people find you?
Yeah, on Twitch, PintSizedFun. That's my channel. It's crazy. It's weird.
Well, thank you for
Fun.
taking the time. I know, like you're super busy, and
Yeah, I
we
had
really
10,000
appreciate
kids
you
here.
talking with us. And it was an honor to meet you this past weekend. It was so fun.
No, I was glad to meet all of you too. It was really a great experience, and I'm glad that I got to do it. Hopefully, I'll see y'all at TwitchCon. So.
Hopefully.
Yeah. When do they announce that? Usually,
I don't
like
know.
end of the or spring-ish, I think.
Last year, I thought they announced it like in late January, I thought, but I could be
Was it?
wrong.
Was it that early? I thought it was like in July, like the summer, over the summer.
Oh man, that doesn't give a lot of people time to make
Oh.
travel plans.
I'm just a
Twitch,
derp.
if you're listening, please tell us where we need to go and when.
We need to book before all the like Airbnbs are booked or hotels.
Yeah.
Yes, a mansion.
Oh, we should do that.
Dude.
Get on it, Doc.
I actually have an idea that I would love to pursue once we find out what city we're in for TwitchCon, and it would be
Music house.
an epic. It wouldn't be a music house. Some of y'all can do that if you want. I'm not doing that again. But to do a venue, to find a venue and do an after party concert.
Yeah.
That viewers could come to as well, where we could have 250 people in the venue, live audience, do the licensing for venue licensing for live performance, do everything we need to do it legit, have it be an after party, and then just do it, book it, have it be a daggum 4.5 hour concert, have different people, different Twitch streamers, music streamers get a song or two, we'd have to just lay it out. But
pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
I know a guy, Doc.
Yeah. I think if we did that, it would draw a lot of people that are already at Twitch to come to it anyways. And then it may even draw some people to go to TwitchCon that wouldn't be otherwise going if they know, oh man, I can go to TwitchCon and see everybody, and then there's going to be this big concert,
Yeah. I mean, there were already so many opportunities that weren't there at the previous TwitchCon this past year to perform on the Tiltify stage and in the talent show. So, considering they're bolstering music so much and the section's only growing, it'll be really neat to see what kind of opportunities there are for musicians this year, even just within TwitchCon. But that would be incredible, Doc.
Doc, and you can join in on the jingle contest and stuff that they had like last year.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I don't know if they'll do that again this year, but yeah.
That'd be so cool.
It's like
it was a bummer last year getting the kibosh on everything I wanted to participate in because I wasn't a partner yet.
But there's that philosophy, you build it, they will come. And I think the community is, we're building stuff together, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Love you guys. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening. We hit 10 episodes last time when Trevor was on. So this is episode 11, and that's really cool. And we're on Spotify now, which was awesome. I submitted that it feels like it might. Yeah, it's like 2 months ago now, and it takes a while for all that to get approved. They're very strict on what they allow on there. So that's it's really awesome. And like people like Leyland has been able to catch up, because restrictions with internet in certain countries. So
I need you to teach me how to Spotify. They don't want to take my money so I could listen to music and stuff. I don't know how.
It's just really cool.
You're such a mom.
Each week our listens keep going up, and that, it's not just from new episodes. It's like seeing the older episodes, go up 50%. It's just awesome. So to the people that are listening, we really appreciate it, and it means a lot. So thank you. And Pint, thank you again.
Uh-oh. You're welcome. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
I know you're probably nervous because I'm, a big derp, and there's no telling what I'm going to say.
No, you're awesome. We're really glad that you're part of the community.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So next until next episode, guys, we'll see you then.
See you. Bye.
Bye.